Hi, it's Ian Matthews here again, and this time we've got a Tango taster with a twist. Today we're going to be looking at preparation for Tango work, not necessarily in the Tango workspace. Now, to clarify what I mean by that, I'm effectively answering one of the questions I get asked probably the most often, which is, how do I put together stuff for Tango? And my response always is, well, I'm not in charge of your class or your learners. I wouldn't want to presume that I have the best answer, and that's why these Tango tasters have been what they have been, which is to sort of, hopefully, give you some ideas about what you could do with it. But I also understand that actually putting your ideas in some sort of order and helping you get through to where you want to be able to do stuff seemingly live may require a little bit of guidance. So I'm going to show you something that I've put up with a lot of my stuff, which is a Tango lesson plan. Now, you might have seen things that are similar to this maybe across the internet in the form of things like 5-minute lesson plans or easy ways to prepare lessons. What I've tried to do is, in effect, create something that should give you the impression of it being, like I say, a chalkboard or a clipboard or something that allows your ideas to just kind of flow as you're going through it. In this instance, what I want to be able to do is say, if I were doing a lesson such as the solar system one we've done a couple of videos ago, I'd want to be able to put that in some sort of context. I knew that I'm doing a lesson on the planets, so what I'd start with, let's say, is that I've printed this off at home. This doesn't have to be on the screen, it can be just a piece of paper, a series of print-offs, or on a PC or a Mac of your own. If I want to go to this, for instance, I want to say, well, the curriculum link for the planets lesson is actually coming from a Key Stage 2 Science something. Now, it could be that I'm writing down very specific information there. It could be that I'm referring back to a specific text. It could be that I'm referring back to the school's curriculum. It could be a resource provider, a private resource provider such as Twinkle. But as long as I've got a link to know where the ideas are coming from, it's helping me as a teacher guide what it is that I'm going to need to do next. Then I'm going to go to the purpose. So in a way it's a bit of backwards thinking, but the point of a lesson plan is for the lesson itself, so I want that to be first, and that's why the purpose is first. In this case it's to learn the planet position or positions. Notice I'm not really writing too much in this. I'm effectively just saying a basic guideline so that I can refer back to the actual resources that are going to be on the curriculum. The approach that I'm going to adopt for this one here, is going to be a case of trial and error. Now, if you refer back to the video on the solar system, you'll be able to see that the way I've done that is to kind of have learners stand at the board in the first instance, move stuff around, decide what they want in the first instance, whether it be right or wrong, and then that's it, they're going to do that. If it's wrong, doesn't matter, I don't have to tell them as a teacher. They'll be able to see that when I give them the actual work to do, which is, they can see, let's say, the first 4 planets, and then another learner has another planet, or whatever. Effectively allowing them to go and research themselves. The trial and error is the approach. So the collaboration opportunities, as we've seen from the previous video, are going to be screen time, there's going to be a sense of pair and share, and then feedback to the class as a whole. It could be that the resources that I need have come from somewhere, such as Twinkle. I'm also using more and more the group Q files, because there's some really good stuff on there that helps kind of explain some quite complex science ideas to Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 learners really simply. The digital resources, well, you've seen what sort of digital resource I've used. In this case it has been Tango. It may be that also that I'm providing tablets for the learners to actually go and do some of their own research. Videos. Well, in this instance, the start of the lesson, I've not got any videos, but I might want to have something to refer back to. It may be that I'm using a BBC documentary, a very specific one. I then might put the URL itself there so that I can access it through the content and the YouTube ability of Tango. In the images, you saw a number of PNG images of planets, PNGs not having a background, as we've seen on the previous videos as well. Then we start looking at session lengths. So if I know that the session is going to be roughly an hour, I've kind of designed this stopwatch approach, which you can divide up into different sections. So I might want my starter to last 5 minutes. So I might then colour that in, choose something so you can see when I say the starters are always going to be kind of green looking. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's just a way for you to get a handle on what it is you're doing. And also, if someone's going to observe your lessons and wants to be able to see what it is you've got planned without needing reams and reams of paper explaining what you're going to do, and for you to have to prepare that in advance as well, they can look at something and think, oh, okay, so that's the first 5 minutes. Then you're going to spend the next so minutes, and then the next, and then the next, and the next for plenary, say. So you've got different sections of your lesson, and you can colour that in whatever you want so that you can remember it. You could label it as well. I mean, I've kind of got it down to the point where I know what S and P relate to in terms of starter and plenary, but you might want to then say main body 1, main body 2, anything that sort of makes sense to you. You can follow it off by saying some basic session notes if you do need anything explaining. So if it were part 1 or section 1 or session main body 1, let's call it MB1. In MB1, I'm going to need a bit of information on da-da-da-da-da, because I need to go and potentially get some other resources out of a cupboard, or have certain learners engage in certain ways, differentiation and so on. But it gives me a handle on what it is we're doing. Then we move to the progression goals. So at any point, I'm always trying to think about what is it that I'm doing that's allowing the learners to demonstrate understanding. And in doing that, how are we going to record that? So the progression goals for this are, yes, learn the planet positions, but really the point of the lesson is to first show what their current learning is versus the hoped outcome, the desired outcome. Now that can be recorded by either USB cameras facing the screen, that could be via exports, that could be via saving whole things as PDFs, that could be via sharing and collaborating, any number of ways. In this case I'm going to say collaboration, because we are going to do some work in other videos soon on some extended collaboration elements from this side of the banner here. How can technology help? Always, always, always fall back on the idea that technology is great if it's of use. Meaning, if you could do it simpler on something like paper, do it on paper. Text, great, but you've got to feel confident with it. If it's not going to do that, it may be worth reconsidering. Check my Twitter feed at IanRmatt, IanRmatt, for some examples of what I mean by that. Then we're on to what's next. So if we've learned the planet positions for this lesson, the next part of it might be that we want to then talk about the different timescales of how each of these planets gets around the sun. So next lesson is going to be about orbits around the sun. How can learners share their work from here? How are they going to be able to show what they've done? Well, they can either share back through collaboration, they might be making some sort of physical diorama, say, of how they're going to show this whole enterprise of caring. And that would then work for technology, that would then work for not just maths, physics, anything. Trying to pull out this idea of the imagination that this planet session can help into other areas we can assess. And again, how can technology help? At the bottom of this, there is also a few links out to other ways that we can hopefully help at Osborne's, and myself, Ian, in helping you develop this. We do have some CPD packages as well that kind of helps expand upon this sort of stuff in addition to what you may already be doing. But don't worry, say this is just an idea. I would never dare say to anyone this is the correct way to do something. I'm always hopefully just showing you a way to do something. So that was today's Tango Taster. Hopefully you can see that there's been a reason for doing it slightly differently, but I really hope this has been of use to you as well.